This leaderboard evaluates the large language model's ability to call functions, aka tools, accurately. And so this is based off of real world data, and they update it periodically. And we can do a blog or something as to how this tool does that specifically in detail, right? We can probably do that later. But why do I look at this leaderboard? Why does Eric look at this leaderboard? Because this is what we do for our clients. We use AI to build tools, to help our clients use the language models to do something. And those somethings are tools for them, right? And so I look into this because we're constantly researching and analyzing and testing in our test environments, in our sandboxes, these tool callings. And which tool, what if I need to do this? If I'm saying, hey, I need you to go and fetch my FP&A reports, how good is the tool to go and fetch that information? Is it going now? If I have a language model that has multiple tools connected to it, how good is the model at understanding and selecting the right tool to use? So if I ask it to go and, hey, I want this report, and then it pulls out the weather, then that's not right. Sorry, guys. It's pretty loud up there. Had to close the door. And so right now we have the leaderboard, which is this XLAM, which is this, which it is a Hugging Face model. So this is actually very interesting. So this is actually called a large action model. And so it's really designed to start making decisions. So now you can see.
Is this an evolved previous LLM, I guess?
Yeah, all of these LLMs, like everything on Hugging Face is always a precursor of something. So this is a llama.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. So this is a llama model. They're calling it LAM because it's an action model, right? It's supposed to make a decision and do an action. And so that's what this is being built to use. And you can actually, once you start doing research on them, you can start seeing how it uses a large language model. So I'm wondering, that's where I'm trying to see. And this one's from Salesforce.
Nice.
So you can so that's a lot of these tools, like this large action model, it is just a framework around a large language model. So you can usually, use either, a Hugging Face open source model with OpenAI. I'm pretty sure there's another version here for some of the others. But usually you plug in a large language model. And specifically for this one, some of them are specifically designed with a specific large language model. But since this is an LAM and we're talking about tool calling, then it makes sense that this model, which was specifically designed for decision making, which is choosing the right tool, it's doing a lot better than the others. Oh, I did not mean to close that out, but let me show you.
So
let
let's
me open
look
up
at the
some of the
second.
other.
I've always the more I read about the large language models that are out there, the more we kind of like see how they're just getting better at certain things. When you're calling into that action, you're saying summarizing big contents of data. So we're talking like company data, right? So how does that really translates to a business when they're trying to pull in information from them and they're trying to make their best decision? I just go by, okay, so inventory or any type of logistics or clients, who would can you kind of like create a base, a use case in which you can pull up the, not the leader maybe, because they might not need the high polished one, but one that could help, for example, manufacturing.
Oh, that's I don't have a leaderboard for that. That is going to be very specific. Those are fine tuned models,
Okay.
and that's a different conversation. Um, this be, I haven't gotten into. That's a good question. I should probably start doing research into is who's doing that, right? Who's doing those fine tuned models and building those. Um,
But that makes sense. It's a fine-tuned model, so that's a start.
it's a niche model. Its
Yes,
niche is to be
thank
in a
you.
specific industry.
Exactly. Yeah, because then this is the way that in my mind I just felt overwhelmed. And it's not that I don't necessarily understand everything now, but there are certain models that have been trained so much into one specific objective, and they have just become, this good in one thing.
Right,
So these. Mm-hmm,
and that's why I really focus on the functions, because we all know that these are all the state of the art models. We are all understanding that they're just going to get better, and they're pretty smart right now, right? They know a lot of information. They've been trained a lot on a lot of data, and so that's why I've shifted my mindset of, okay, which one has the best responses and answers, to now which ones can actually make sure to use
operate,
the right tool, operate and
operate.
use the
Yeah.
right tools.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
that's where I've shifted from that mindset of, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we know they're smart. You can choose any of the large language models, and it's
Mm-hmm.
going to give you a pretty good response, along the lines. Some of them are better than others, and it's been and essentially they've just been training. They just keep training, and they just keep getting smarter, and that's fine. And that's going to continue on that course. That's a pillar of the large language model of industry, is that now that needs to continue going forward, because time goes on to infinity. And so to
Mm-hmm.
infinity, we will continuously be training these large language models on continuous data forever. And so now have shifted my strategy into, okay, those are going to continue getting better and smarter, and that's fine, and cheaper at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, which of them are going to actually be able to get the stuff done that I want it to get done, and be able to
Mm-hmm.
use those tools? Now, that's where I've been focusing on now, is, okay, function calling. Which ones know which what to make? Now I want to make a decision, and how do I know that I'm making the right decision and using the right
Yeah.
tools?